What is up, YouTube? This is John Helm with Helmwood Shop and Smithy, back with another knife making video. This is the I don't know how manyth episode of the Confederate D-guard Bowie knife build. Thank y'all for joining me. So I left off this Confederate Bowie knife when I was working on the pommel. I have basically a chunk of metal with a hole in it that is tapped, and that's where I am right now. So I need to even everything out. It's a little bit lopsided. I need to shape it, and then I need to put some sort of surface finish on it. So this is what I have right now. You can see the threaded tang extending out of the bottom of the guard, and I have this that threads onto it. So I need to come up with some kind of shape for this piece that would look good aesthetically with the guard and the overall style of the knife. And right now I think it is a little bit too tall. I want to take it down some. So these threads only go up about half of the way into this block. So I'm going to start this whole process by trying to square this up and taking off a bunch of meat here from the bottom. So let's go over to the grinder and get started. So I have this ground down into a usable size billet. Now I'm just going to square everything up on the disc grinder. This is my first official use of the disc grinder. So all I did there is I just kept taking off corners. So I wound up with this geometric prism type shape. And then after I got it done, now I'm going back and smoothing all those edges over so that it'll be rounded all the way to the tip and we'll have just a small flat spot there. Well, my battery died, so I had to do a little bit of work off camera. All I did was take that thin piece of walnut and cut out the shape of the tang, and then glue a couple pieces of black G10 liner onto the outside. Now I'm going to trim these off and glue up the handle. So far this is coming together awesome. Everything just fell right into place. Straight off the grinder, this thing feels outstanding in the hand. It just needs a little bit of work with a file and some sandpaper, and then it'll be ready to seal. Now for the pommel and the guard, I need to do a little bit of file work, touch these up, make sure everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, and then I'll heat it up in the forge and rub it with an oily rag to put a nice black finish on it. After that, it'll be ready to assemble. I was having a hard time getting a blackened finish on this with just the oil, and I think it's because there wasn't any scale on it. It was fresh steel. So I went ahead and popped it in the forge and brought it up to red hot. Now I'm slowly letting it cool. Then I'll give it a good brush and apply some oil afterwards. Should look good. I have my first layer of linseed oil on this handle and it looks gorgeous. I sanded it up to a 1200 grit finish, which really shows, especially on this maple and on the walnut as well. It is just a gorgeous piece. I couldn't be happier with it. I also went ahead and finished up the pommel and the guard. The pommel, as you saw earlier, I put a file finish on it, blackened it in the forge, and then I just sanded off the tops of the ridges of the file marks with some 1200 grit sandpaper and then coated it in linseed oil. And it looks just how I would like it to. It matches the flats on the blade quite well. The guard I left as forged, but I did get it hot and then rub some linseed oil on it to give it that blackened finish. I think that this really rough forged guard is going to be the perfect accent piece to the very finely finished handle and bevel on the blade that we have. I really like to marry rustic and well-finished pieces as one. I think it gives them a lot of character. Not so much character as pieces that are entirely rustic, because a lot of times they just look crappy, let's be honest. But enough character that it's not something that you see on a store shelf. We'll say that much. So anyway, I'm gonna keep applying the oil to this handle about every 5-10 minutes until it stops absorbing it. At that point, I'll let it dry overnight and then I will wax it. Then we can put this thing together and be done with it. I can't wait. The handle has been waxed and look at that. It came out great. I opted to go with a hand rubbed finish instead of taking it to the buffing wheel, so it just has a nice satin sheen to it. I love how it looks. This is gonna be awesome. And I'm ready to put it together. I wrapped up my pommel with some electrical tape. Hopefully that'll stop it from getting marred while I'm screwing it on. Wow. Yeah, so this is the coolest knife I have ever made in my entire life. Man, this build has been awesome. It was so much work, but it all paid out in the end. I know the client's gonna be extremely happy with this. I know that I am. So thanks to y'all for joining me all along the journey that's become this Confederate D-Guard Bowie knife. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Y'all have a good one.